Hey everyone, it's Patrick from Oakland Travel. Let's get all this stuff closed down here. All right. It's 3:30 in the afternoon. May the 19th, 2022. You were looking at St. Kitts, Basseterre St. Kitts, I should say. Adapter here fell. Got this tiny little laptop bench going on here. So it's like just barely wide enough to hold the laptop. So hopefully the Wi-Fi will cooperate today, so we'll see how it goes. So let's see, 3:30. Everybody has an hour before their the required back on board time. So we did. Let's see, we are port side, deck 6, all the way forward. So cabin 6130. So the dock is on the other side, on the starboard side. So, like the cruise, the cruise terminal, everything is sort of over that way, and kind of around to the left of where the camera's pointed. Right there in the foreground would be basically where, like, another ship or another 2 ships could dock over there, because I guess they can do 2 on that port that you're looking at, and then the one we're at plus 1 on the other side. So 4 ships total if they were full for the day. We are the only one in port, and so another hour before everybody has to be back on board. We walked off at around 8:30 this morning, 8:15, and immediately jumped into our excursion, which was a tour of the island on a train. It's the St. Kitts Scenic Railroad, I think is the name of the excursion. It's pretty cool. They pick you up in a bunch of like little buses, take you over to the train station, and the train makes, like, I don't know, I guess like a loop around the island, like halfway around the island, and then they pick you up at a certain point, and then they by bus they bring you back to the cruise terminal. So you basically end up doing like a full lap around the island, which isn't that big. But very interesting experience. I've got a lot of GoPro footage that I'll put together at some point into probably like a movie or something, I don't know. I recorded practically the entire excursion, and the train was like only about 5 cars, but each one of the cars was like a double decker. So like the upper level of the train car was open, you know, where you could see out on the sides, and then the lower level of the train car was air conditioned and enclosed with, you know, glass and, you know, whatever. So if you wanted to sit inside an air conditioning, you sat on the bottom level of the train, and if you wanted like the where you could see out the sides and be out in the open, then you sat on the upper level of the train. And it only did about 10 miles an hour all the way through the tour. So it was moving nice and slow to where the narrator at the front of the train could kind of tell you, like, oh, you're now on the left is this and on the right is this and whatever. So, and then once we got back in the bus, the bus driver was sort of doing some narration as well, so kind of telling us about the history and just what areas we were driving through and stuff like that. And there's a lot of, the cruise terminal itself is pretty big. There's a lot of places to do some shopping, and you know, tons of places to buy souvenirs, tobacco, alcohol, jewelry's everywhere, perfume, you name it. All the little tchotchkes, the souvenirs that, you know, you would expect to find are all here. Plenty of places to buy them. Nice little cruise terminal. It's a pretty good walk off the ship, though. if your ship is going to dock in Basseterre, St. Kitts, it's going to be a nice little walk down the terminal, or down the pier, to get to the cruise terminal. So we have 2 family members traveling with us that don't have the best mobility, so I'm not even sure if they ended up going ashore or not. They might have stayed on the ship. So got back on, hit the old classic Windjammer for lunch, and then I was supposed to do the live stream from like the solarium like around 5, and I just decided to move it up and do it from the balcony. So here we are. It's St. Kitts and Nevis, 2 different little islands that together are the same country or whatever. And Nevis is a couple of miles away by ferry. Takes like 30 minutes to get there from Basseterre. So I'm sure there might have been cruise excursions that actually take you over there, but I don't know. When we were browsing through, we saw the one to do the train tour, and just decided on that because that seemed like a pretty cool option. So that was it for us. That was our only excursion for the entire cruise. I was a little asleep at the switch when it came to looking at and booking excursions for this cruise. So for St. Thomas, we didn't do anything, and for the Perfect Day Coca Key on Monday, we didn't do anything. So just a nice, quiet, relaxing afternoon. Cruise life. I wish we were on the other side of the ship, because we backed in this morning, so it'll be easy to leave because all they have to do is kind of push away from the pier and then head out. But we don't. We're seeing some of Basseterre, but there's a lot of it back on the other side of the ship where you get off. So you never know. Whenever you book a cruise, book a stateroom on either starboard side or port side, it's a complete crapshoot as to what that's going to be like in ports of call, because you never know how the ship's going to dock. But pretty good weather today. Very hot, probably mid-80s. I think we had direct sunshine earlier. Now it's a little bit partly cloudy. Got a little bit of a breeze going here, so it's very nice. It's kind of one of the few times that we really sort of use the balcony stateroom, even though we get one for every cruise. A lot of times I just kind of come out here, record a little bit of video for Facebook or something, and go back inside, back into the air conditioning. Not much going on out here. I see a few little small boats or something over here, and a couple little boats milling around. This is not like St. Thomas, where when we pulled in yesterday, there were a lot of sailboats around and a lot of other just smaller boats just in general kind of in the harbor at Charlotte-Amalie. This is not much to it. It's kind of like when the cruise ships come in and the cruise ships are in port. The ship is the main thing, because there's not that many people that live on the island. So I would imagine once we pull away here at about probably like 5 o'clock, I think is when we schedule to leave, the island goes back to normal. So after this, we have 2 full sea days, and then we are back into Port Canaveral on Sunday morning, and then Harmony of the Seas goes back out. I don't know what the next itinerary is like. I haven't looked. I'm sure Perfect Day at Coca Key will be in there somewhere, but beyond that, I don't know where it's going. We were up on the deck 15 earlier, which is the main pool deck, and a lot of people are out laying by the pool and just doing stuff, and the solarium's pretty busy. And I bet a lot of people probably got off the ship this morning, if they weren't doing excursions, just went out, did some shopping, and came back on. So probably a pretty typical port day, I would imagine. There were definitely some big excursions going out though, because they all meet in the cruise terminal down here. And when we were coming back through there at like almost 1 o'clock, well, about 12:30, there was a huge group of people that were going out for afternoon excursions. They were going over to some beach, something or other, and there's probably a couple of hundred people that we saw there, so there's definitely afternoon excursions going on too. But I imagine those will probably be wrapping up soon, since they've got less than an hour before they have to be back on board. So been posting the cruise compass to the Royal Caribbean Dining group on Facebook, and I noticed this morning there were several questions about the Greece show on the ship. So I have no idea. We're not booked for anything. I was late booking the dining reservations. I forgot to book the shows. I don't know. I think I'm so looking forward to the cruise in September that I practically overlooked this one. So kind of missed a couple of steps that we normally do leading up to a cruise. Because you definitely don't want to wait. You got a cruise coming up, you definitely want to get in there and get your reservations booked for your like My Time Dining, and for any of the shows that you want to do on the ship. If you're going to do the specialty dining, you want to do those. All of that stuff. I missed the boat on all of that. Might be able to hear that. Some of the crew members down below us on deck 5, I think, are doing some maintenance on the ship. A lot of times the crew will use port days to do maintenance, because most of the passengers get off the ship, so they can go run around and do things they need to do to upkeep maintenance on the ship and everything. It's pretty quiet until about a minute ago. Now we got this tapping going on. Right, this wall right here, directly on the other side of this wall, there are no staterooms. We're the very first one on deck 6. So we've never been this far forward before. So right on the other side of this wall is where the ship starts to come to a point, So it's pretty cool, because if you peek around this wall, you can essentially see like the bow view, like what the ship is pointed at. So, but it also means when we're out at sea and we're going, kind of full speed, you get some interesting wind noise going on, like right over here on the ends of this metal piece, because of how the wind is being forced around the sides of the ship. So you get a little bit of a whistling noise going on over here. So I don't even remember requesting this room. This was one of those where we had a June 2020 cruise that was canceled because of COVID, or we canceled it and moved it to September of 2020. And this was back when everybody was really, really optimistic in early 2020, back in March. Like, oh, this thing will only last a few weeks. You know, it'll be, the cruises will be shut down for just a little bit, and then they'll be back. And so, long about like March or April, as we were getting close to the June cruise, it was like, okay, it's pretty obvious that's not going to happen. So, you know, let's pick September 2020. By then, we'll be back up and running. So we picked something around Labor Day. But then, get a little farther into the summer of 2020, and Royal Caribbean cancels that one and get the old future cruise credit and all that stuff. So it's like, all right, let's push it all the way out to May of 2022, which is normally a pretty good time of year to go cruising. And I let Royal Caribbean basically pick the stateroom or the balcony. I wish there was more to look at. This side of the ship, there's just not much going on over here. So I guess all of the water-based excursions, I think what happens is you get off the ship and you get over here, and they pick you up in like little buses, and they take you out of the cruise terminal or out of the port to somewhere else on the island, and then you go do your whatever the excursion is. So there's hardly any water traffic out here at all. There's a couple of things in the background of where the camera's pointed, but they haven't really moved, so I don't know what they are. First I thought that might be somebody out on like canoes or kayaks or something, but they're not really moving. It's going to be a far cry from our next one in September. Ooh. We're going out of Copenhagen, Denmark on the Voyager of the Seas for a 14-night Arctic transatlantic cruise. So out of Copenhagen, then it goes all the way up the coast of Norway to some little town that I can't even begin to pronounce. And we'll be there for a day. And then we go west over to Iceland, and we do 2 days at Reykjavik, and then we go up on the other side of the Iceland country, up on the northern side of the island, and do like a day up there, and then we go west down to over to Greenland, and we do 3 different places on Greenland, and then we go into Boston, and then fly down to Orlando from there. So 2 weeks, and I have no idea what I'm going to do for live streams, because that one's going to be very unpredictable. Plus, I have no idea how good the Wi-Fi is on the Voyager of the Seas. So I don't know. I'll have to figure that one out almost as we go. The Wi-Fi on the Harmony of the Seas here has been pretty good, actually. Other than the weird little thing that happened yesterday, where the tail end of my live stream got cut off, the Wi-Fi has been very good, surprisingly good, at least for this, for streaming live on YouTube. But like other regular run-of-the-mill things, the Wi-Fi has been less than successful. Let's put it that way. It's like a really nice afternoon out here, probably low 80s, 80 degrees maybe. Just chilling. I don't know if you can hear it or not, but it's the sound of the water kind of lapping up against the side of the ship. because we're deck 6, so we're not too far above the water line. See if I can give you a little view of what's around the corner here on the other side of the wall here. Oh, tell you what, let me take this off the tripod. See if I can do it this way. I'll give you a little look here. So here's off the, see? There's the bow of the ship right down there. So as soon as you get on the other side of this wall right here, you get constant wind coming in from the front. Yeah, security camera there. Somebody needs to clean the lens on that thing. So, yeah, you see, we're not too far off the water line. Here's a look kind of down the port side of the ship. My little adapter here is just bound and determined to fall. So you see, you could dock another 2 ships right here on either side of that. Got a couple of things way out there in the water, but I don't know what those are. There's a volcano around here somewhere on this island. I think we sort of went by it as we were on the railroad tour earlier. There you go. That's your kind of look around. Other parts of the island off in the distance there. Oh, sorry about that. Just enough room on this table to make my laptop fit. There is an international airport here from what they were telling us. I don't know how many flights they get. I haven't really seen any planes overhead. Not sure what's going on with this island in terms of tourists. It feels like they're just now starting to ramp up a little bit. Because there are some islands down here that get, like St. Martin is a good example. St. Martin gets a lot of, they get a lot of cruise passengers, but they also get a lot of regular tourists that actually fly into the island because they're, you know, pretty well known and pretty popular. And probably St. Thomas, you know, U.S. Virgin Islands, you get a lot of people go to Charlotte-Maillet for vacation even if they're not on a cruise. St. Kitts, I don't know. It's hard to say. It kind of felt like the cruise ship, like us being on a cruise, you know, we were kind of the only game in town I don't know how often they get any sort of tourism here that's not cruise related. There are definitely some very poor parts of the island. We saw that as we were driving around. So I think we're getting ready to go up on deck. Maria wants to do the zip line, so I'll be on recording duty for that. So tomorrow, see, 2 days at sea before back to Canaveral. So tomorrow we'll do a 3 o'clock live stream. I guess I'll either do it from me. Let me look at my schedule of what I was thinking I was going to do. See here. I guess we'll do Solarium tomorrow, and then on the last day we'll do the promenade again. So 3 o'clock from somewhere up in the Solarium tomorrow. That will be on Friday. So a Friday afternoon, 3 o'clock Eastern live stream. And until then, see you guys later. Thanks so much for joining me. If you're watching this after the fact, make sure you are subscribed to the channel with the notification bell on, because whenever we're on a cruise, you never know. I might go live, just drop of a hat. So make sure you give it a thumbs up. That helps us with YouTube analytics and so forth. Helps us to grow the channel. So yeah, I think we'll be back again tomorrow, 3 o'clock from the Solarium, and see you later.